If you allow me a personal note before I start thanking everybody, I'd like to wish happy birthday to my boss today, to Maria. So I don't know if Maria is seated. I don't know where she is. Maria, where are you? There you are. So I promised her that I would do something big for her birthday, and voila. So, thank you. Also, I'd like to wish happy birthday to George Paliokrasas and to Maria Gutvaslidis, who had her birthday yesterday. And no, I said George Paliokrasas, so happy birthday to all of you. It has been a long day, but I think it has been a wonderful day. And I would like to thank all of you for being with us today. I'm absolutely thrilled that I think we had an event. It was a knockout event. I got a lot of congratulations about the event, but mainly about the venues. And I said to everybody, when we go outside of Greece and we try to promote Greece, we always should go for the highest standard. We should always promote Greece in a very glamorous, prestigious way, and I'm delighted that we had the opportunity to get the Metropolitan Club and the Harbour Club today. I think today's event was amazing in terms of the quality of the presenters. I don't want to repeat what I said at lunch, but frankly, we have everybody who is somebody involved with Greece, within Greece and outside of Greece was here today. And I think we couldn't pick a better time and a better list of speakers to try to present what is happening in Greece today. And I think everybody's consensus is that we can be cautiously optimistic. Anyway, without any more introductions, from me, I'd like to thank everybody. I'd like to thank the ambassadors, the ministers, the banks, the sponsors, everybody who contributed to this event. And now we have a unique opportunity to have with us again Deputy Assistant Secretary Jonathan Cohen. I will not go down his CV. I think all of us who live in Greece know that he had a very long and very special relationship with Greece and with Cyprus. And inviting him to the podium, I'd like to thank him for exactly having the honor for us to have such a high-level government representation from the US. To conclude our dinner, we have the ambassador who traveled from Greece. We have now Deputy Assistant Secretary Cohen. And I think I can safely say that there is no better proponent and friend of Greece than Deputy Assistant Secretary Cohen. I think wherever he goes, he's a true friend of Greece. He flies the American flag, of course, but also in his heart and in his hand, I think he flies the Greek flag as well. And we thank him for everything he does, and I'd like to welcome him to the podium. So please. And I should recognize, of course, our Mr. Lalakos, the Greek ambassador to the US, and Minister Papamitrio, Minister Kundura. I'm very bad when it comes down to recognizing everybody, so simply say thank you to all of you, and thank you for being with us today.
Kalispera, good evening. Thank you for the warm welcome, and thank you, Nick, for your kind introduction. As someone with a long personal relationship with Greece, and a great fondness for the country and its people, it's a special honor and a great pleasure for me to be here tonight. A night that I hope will lead to good things for U.S. business and for Greece. I'll be talking about U.S.-Greece relations and how the U.S. sees Greece today politically, economically, and strategically. And we'll launch a campaign to enlist support for what I believe will be the most important moment in U.S.-Greek relations in the year ahead. But first, allow me to share some personal reflections. As a young man of 22, I had my first experience in Greece when my brother and I traveled there by ferry from Israel, where I'd spent a year on a research fellowship. We visited a number of islands and Athens, and at each stop, I was captivated by the atmosphere, the warmth of the people, the quality of the light, and the color of the water, and the history connecting ancient democracy with the principles of our United States. And the tomatoes that tasted like sun. Greece was unlike anything I'd seen before, and I knew I would come back. And I did, repeatedly. When I fell in love with the woman I would marry and wanted to take her somewhere very special, the choice was easy: Greece. In particular, the island of Kythera, which was recommended to us by some wonderful Greek friends. We liked it so much that we returned there for our honeymoon the next year, and again the year after that. We continue to have very dear friends in Greece and have taken our now adult children there a number of times over the years, which is all to say that for the past 30 years, Greece has been an important part of my life. And now, for the past year and a half, I've been especially lucky to be able to serve my country and advance our national interests by further improving U.S.-Greek relations at a time when they've already reached the highest point in generations. Those relations have become increasingly warm, close, and productive. To be a part of furthering that trajectory and getting to know and work with Greek leaders and visit Greece in an official capacity has been hugely rewarding, both personally and professionally. Thank you for letting me share that with you. And to those Greek officials here tonight, and those following our discussion from Athens, thank you for making our work together so productive and meaningful as we advance our nation's mutual interests. 2017 has witnessed an extraordinary growth in the breadth and depth of U.S.-Greek relations. Today, the United States and Greece stand together in addressing some of the most critical issues of our time, including the migration crisis, combating terrorism, and ensuring economic growth that benefits both of our peoples. Ambassador Pyatt and Ambassador Lalakos and their respective embassies have delivered critical support in Athens and Washington. From the beginning of this administration, their efforts have teed up an impressive set of meetings between cabinet and other high-level officials. In March, just weeks after the new administration took office, Foreign Minister Koutsias visited Washington and met both Secretary of State Tillerson and National Security Advisor McMaster. That was also when I learned he's an NFL football fan of the New England Patriots, he told me. That same month, Defense Minister Kamenos met Defense Secretary Mattis, and the White House hosted its annual Greek National Day reception with Minister Kamenos and many of tonight's participants in attendance. My friend, the Digital Affairs Minister, Nikos Pappas, visited the White House that month for intense consultations with then International Economic Coordinator, Ambassador Ken Juster. And in June, Commerce Secretary Ross held bilateral discussions with Minister Papadimitriou on the margins of Select USA, a premier Commerce Department event. And last month, Minister of Transportation and Infrastructure, Spiritzis, discussed a broad spectrum of issues with Transportation Secretary Chow, and the list of high-level engagement goes on. Of course, the highlight of the year in terms of the bilateral relationship was Prime Minister Tsipras' October visit to Washington and Chicago, accompanied by Ministers Koutsias, Kamenos, and Pappas. That visit truly underscored the importance of that the United States places on Greece. The Prime Minister met with President Trump, along with the Secretaries of State, Treasury, and Commerce, and separately with Vice President Pence. Our Congress also understands the importance of U.S.-Greek relations. Numerous U.S. congressional delegations have traveled to Athens, Thessaloniki, and Suda Bay this year for meetings with Greek officials, and we welcomed a number of Greek parliamentarians and military officials in Washington. Through these vigorous engagements, we're adding to the depth and complexity of our relationship on a wide range of issues. Prominent among these are military and security cooperation. Greece consistently contributes more than 2% of its GDP to defense spending, despite the enormous economic challenges that it faces. And we commend Greece for its leadership in upholding that commitment, agreed to by all NATO allies in 2014, but that only was met by 5. Greece hosts the naval support activity at Suda Bay on Crete, providing invaluable support to both U.S. and NATO missions. Its strategic location at the nexus of multiple U.S. military commands and at the east-west and north-south crossroads make it a strategically important platform for the execution of critical military operations throughout the region. To give a sense of the scope of what goes on at Suda Bay, in 2015 alone, Suda Bay hosted visits from around 90 native ships from the U.S. and upwards of 5,100 aircraft, and processed 18,000 military passengers through its facilities. The Greek government has welcomed increased defense cooperation with the U.S. at Suda Bay and elsewhere in Greece, a message that is most welcome and which we will certainly follow up on. For the U.S. is also committed to deepening our defense cooperation with our Greek ally. There's great potential to do even more together as we seek to project stability and security throughout the Eastern Mediterranean and into Africa and the Middle East. Prime Minister Tsipras and Foreign Minister Kotzias have both emphasized Greece's role as a pillar for stability in an unstable region. As an EU member, Greece's voice is critical in advocating for continued EU engagement with Turkey and in articulating the importance of keeping Turkey firmly anchored in the West, a position shared by the United States. We remain convinced that a Turkey that meets EU accession criteria would benefit the EU, Turkey, and the region as a whole, and we commend Greek leaders for their regular engagements with their Turkish counterparts, most recently hosting President Erdogan last week. We know the conversations there can be challenging, but we also know that regular and robust dialogue is indispensable for improving relations between countries, and we hope for the best possible relations between our Greek and Turkish allies. More broadly, in southeastern Europe and the Eastern Mediterranean, the United States sees Greece as an exporter of stability and security to neighboring countries. The Greek government has taken active strides toward resolving outstanding issues with several of its Balkan neighbors, including dialogue with Skopje on difficult name issue. And Greece has initiated or taken part in establishing a number of new regional axes of cooperation, as exemplified in recent trilateral and multilateral engagements with Cyprus, Israel, Egypt, and others. I noted with interest that last Tuesday, the Greek energy minister signed a memorandum of understanding for the East Med pipeline project, along with representatives of Cyprus, Israel, and Italy, to strengthen the security of Europe's energy supply while promoting competition among gas suppliers and nations in the Eastern Mediterranean. Also, as Secretary Tillerson noted in his recent Wilson Center remarks, we hope for early progress on the Greece-Bulgaria interconnector, which will play a key role in allowing gas supply diversification for the countries of southern Europe. We're working intensively to implement the Prime Minister's commitment to have Greece become the third EU importer of U.S. LNG. And Prime Minister Tsipras' quadrilateral meeting with leaders of Bulgaria, Romania, and Serbia, dubbed the Four of Varna, in October, was also a notable step in increasing cooperation in the region. The United States recognizes that Greece continues to bear an outsized burden in hosting refugees and migrants, and we remain dedicated to supporting the Greek government's ongoing efforts in that regard. Since the start of the refugee crisis, the United States has contributed $74 million in humanitarian aid through international organizations to support the European response, including in Greece. Greece has stepped up to play a regional leadership role despite the crushing effects of its economic crisis, a testament to the resilience of the Greek people and the determination of Greece's leadership. There's no question that Greece has been through a devastating experience. Through the many years of my involvement with the country, I've seen it in prosperous times and more recently in dire straits, and I've watched the Greek people persevere. I believe in Greece. So does Ambassador Pyatt. So does Calantzopoulos, as John Kodonis eloquently described earlier today. Greece was limping along a few years ago, but through difficult decisions and the hard work of reforms, it's turned a corner and is now at a jog, with progress visible through improvements in economic indicators. I'm confident that Greece will soon hit an even faster stride and eventually a sprint. And we want the U.S. business community and investors to be part of that sprint and to help enable it. As President Trump reconfirmed in October, the United States supports reasonable debt relief for Greece as it continues its recovery and sticks with its reforms. Going forward, a key step in that recovery is showing the world that Greece is again open for business, that it's taking steps to make investing there easier, and that its return to growth represents a great business opportunity. In my opening, I mentioned that tonight I would launch a campaign to enlist support for what I believe will be the most important moment in U.S.-Greek relations this year. I'm referring to the September 2018 Thessaloniki International Fair, or TIFF, at which the United States will be the honored country. TIFF is the most important political and economic event of the year in Greece. It is at TIFF that the Greek Prime Minister will announce the Greek government's next 12-month plan, give the equivalent of a State of the Nation address, and hold a major press conference on subjects that cover his whole agenda. Nearly the entire Greek cabinet will also travel to Thessaloniki for the fair with the Prime Minister. And the leaders of all Greek political parties will also attend and will present their own 12-month perspectives. Being selected as the honored country at this event reflects the strength of our bilateral relationship and the robust political support the U.S. has shown for Greece throughout its economic crisis and recovery. The 2018 TIFF will be an unprecedented opportunity to showcase America's entrepreneurial spirit and leadership in driving ingenuity and creativity in sectors from technology to education. The event also aims to mark a turning of the page for Greece, out of austerity programs, away from supervision, and back to a solid and sustainable path of growth. As the largest commercial trade show in Southeast Europe, the fair offers an opportunity to promote American products and services directly to the more than 300,000 expected visitors and to a regional market of 100 million consumers. We want to recruit the best U.S. corporations and organizations, sports and cultural figures, and leaders of educational institutions to participate in the American Pavilion and at related side events, and to be present along with a high-level U.S. government delegation. The U.S. Embassy in Athens and the Consulate General in Thessaloniki will cooperate closely with the American Hellenic Chamber of Commerce in organizing the American Pavilion, with the theme of harnessing innovation. The fair is an exceptional chance to demonstrate to Greek and other regional consumers and businesses the constant evolution that enables U.S. business to lead global markets in technology, finance, culture, and education, to increase brand awareness, to generate new business agreements, to demonstrate products face-to-face and to network with potential representatives, distributors, agents, and business partners. I urge you to join us in Thessaloniki and exhibit in the American Pavilion. American Pavilion exhibitors will have opportunities to participate in targeted business-to-business and business-to-consumer meetings with representatives from Greece and the broader Southeast Europe region. You'll also be positioned to leverage the broad range of parallel cultural and commercial events running alongside the fair in conjunction with the embassy. You can all start now to play an important role, and I urge you to talk up this event as American business people and friends of Greece. The 2018 TIFF offers a rare opportunity to advance our common interests in improving business ties, growing U.S. investment in Greece, and helping Greece get back on its feet. As we get prepared for the TIFF, we'll be emphasizing Brand America. We know that Greece is back and open for business, and we need to let Greek consumers and those throughout the region know that the U.S. will be there, and that no one has more to offer or can do more at a higher standard than America. TIFF is not just a trade event. It's an opportunity to lift up the American brand in northern Greece, in Greece as a whole, and throughout the region, and to reaffirm our alliance in all its aspects. Supporting the U.S. role at TIFF in 2018 is supporting the U.S.-Greece relationship. So let's show Greece and that the American business community hears its message loud and clear, that no one has more to offer than U.S. business, and that the U.S. plans to play an important part in the Greek market and in that of the region. I know we can count on each of you to help make TIFF 2018 a great success for the U.S., for Greece, and for U.S.-Greece relations. To Capital Link, to Nick, to Olga, thank you for the opportunity to address such a distinguished audience tonight. And thanks in advance for what I know will be impressive contributions to the U.S. effort at Thessaloniki. Ευχαριστώ πολύ, and good night.
I would like to mention the immediate effect of the remarks of Deputy Assistant Secretary Jonathan Cohen, who talked about the Thessaloniki International Forum and of the ambassador, of course. Gregory Prastakos, who is the dean of the Stevens Business School. He said to me, Nicholas, I heard the speech, I heard the remarks, and who should I contact so that the Stevens Institute of Technology can get a booth next year at the Thessaloniki Fair? And I said, let me make an announcement that we're going to do that, and I think the best person to contact will be the ambassador, and he will put you in touch with the right people. So there you go. Thank you. And Gregory, thank you. So, and of course we hope a lot more businesses from the US will take it over. And now we're coming to the second part of our dinner. Before we proceed recognizing Mr. André Calantzopoulos, I would like to ask Minister Papadimitriou, who is the Minister for Development and Investment, to share with us a few introductory remarks before inviting Jim Hansel to the podium. So, Dimitri, the Minister, is a prominent Greek American. He has been going around the globe trying to get investment from Greece. I have to tell you the one thing that, we know each other for quite a long time, and I know that he is a very hard-working person, very dedicated, very efficient, but I have to tell you, when he said to me that the last time he came to the US, he had a very big back problem, but he had a number of meetings with investors, so he attended those meetings in a wheelchair. So there you go. A very dedicated man trying to solicit investment from Greece. Here is Minister Papadimitriou. And of course, I would like to recognize Minister Tigran, who is promoting Greek tourism all over the world. So, Dimitri.
Thank you very much, Nicholas. I thought that if I were going to use a wheelchair, investors would pity me and come out with their checkbooks, but unfortunately that didn't actually happen. But so I thought that I should continue even without the wheelchair. It is indeed a great pleasure and a personal privilege to be up here to be part of the celebration of an individual who has distinguished himself in business, and that's André Calantzopoulos, who, as you know, is the Chief Executive Officer of Philip Morris International. I want to take this opportunity to thank him publicly for him and also Mr. Harpantidis, who is the resident CEO of Apastratos in Greece, for their confidence in the Greek economy. Their crucially important investment that expands the production facility for the new developed cigarette IQOS has multiple effects, or will have multiple effects on the Greek economy. First, he will create a number of jobs, and in turn, these jobs will create not only those jobs that are direct jobs, but also indirect jobs that will increase domestic demand. And in addition to increasing GDP, because of the type of business, it will also increase exports. Now, those kinds of investments are really what a country like Greece needs at the present time. As I indicated this morning, Greece has turned the page. All the indicators are positive. I think that it's the first time since 2006 that Greece has experienced growth all 3 quarters, and we expect that first the third quarter will be revised upwards as the second quarter was revised upwards, and that we will have a real tremendous fourth quarter. This means that I'm not only saying it, I think that all of you have basically recognized it, because the investment that the Philip Morris International family has made to Greece is joining the roster of other American investments, such as the investments of the Calantzopoulos Group, investment group, the CV Capital Partners, the BlackRock, the Blackstone, the investments that have been made by Noble Energy, and also the Heinz hotels. I want to say that the recognition has come not only from American investors, but certainly from a lot of the European investors, Germans, people from the Netherlands, the French, the British, and others, in addition to the Middle East. And in a recent trip that we took to Australia, we found out that a number of superannuation funds have been investing in the infrastructure projects. I don't want to spend too much time talking about the opportunities for investing in Greece. I think those of you who heard me this morning and those who followed me made it clear that Greece is really a destination place. And after all, President Trump indicated that Greece is a destination place for investment, and that the result of his belief, and I think some persuasion from our Prime Minister, you know, he has the capacity to persuade people, as he persuaded me to come and join the government, which was very difficult for me to refuse. But nevertheless, he and President Trump decided to create a committee to actually promote American investments in Greece. Now that shows a real commitment, I think, to the relations between Greece and the United States. And I think that it's important to see that Greece and America have these strong relations of many, many years. I think that I want to end by saying that we're all very excited about the Thessaloniki International Fair. But before, and we all expect many people to join, but I think I would be remiss if I didn't say that all of these that we hear and the interest from American businesses is the work of one particular individual. This particular individual is tireless in his effort to promote Greece to American businesses. And that's none other than the American ambassador to Greece, Jeffrey Hyatt. So I wanted to take the opportunity for you to join me in celebrating the ambassador Hyatt. So we're all excited and waiting for you to all show up in September of 2018 when we celebrate American business and technology. Thank you.
Mr. Minister, dear Dimitri, thank you very much for your insightful remarks. The Capital Link Hellenic Leadership Award, we started it about 6 years ago, and every year we're trying to honor someone for his or her significant contribution to Greece. Previous honorees were André John Kalamos, Sofia Voltetis. Last year we had Wilbur Ross, and this year we have the great honor of having Mr. André Calantzopoulos. I have to say, first of all, I'd like to extend a big thanks to Mr. Karpantiris, not only for doing an excellent job running Papastratos in Greece, but also for convincing Mr. Calantzopoulos to accept this award. You know, I think one of the characteristics of great men is humility. And it was not easy to get him to accept, so we're delighted to have him with us tonight. From our perspective, the reason we came up with him as the honoree is, in my mind, he combines three unique characteristics. First of all, the Philip Morris Group has made, as the Minister said, a very big and unique contribution and commitment to the Greek economy. Second, he happens to be Greek. And he happens to be one of those very few Greeks who are at the helm of a global multinational organization that is globally respected and has global impact. And there are not that many of them. So all this combination to us, but above all, the fact, after all, we're honoring somebody for their contribution to Greece. And I think having invested $1 billion over the last few years, and above all, it's not just the size of investment. In my mind, it's the continuity of the commitment. You need your friends when things are tough. When things are wonderful and rosy, everybody's your friends. But when things are tough, that's when you recognize who are your true friends. And of course, working for a big multinational organization, he did not do a favor to Greece. He had to go through very rigorous processes to come up with a conclusion of investing in Greece. But I think that showed the, conviction of the group to the potential of Greece. They recognize that, and for that we honor them, and we honor Mr. Calantzopoulos. So I will kindly ask Jim Hansel to come and make the honors, and then Ambassador Galakis will present the award.
Good evening, everyone. Red Apple Group and John Katsimatidis are honored and pleased to co-sponsor this closing dinner honoring Mr. André Calantzopoulos, CEO of Philip Morris International. My name is Jim Hansel. I am Senior Vice President of Red Apple Group and a past president of the Hellenic American Bankers Association. It's a great honor to introduce André this evening. André was born in Pyrgos, Greece. He studied electrical engineering at the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology in Lausanne, Switzerland, where I'm sure he learned to speak many, many languages. After working in the field of robotics, he returned to school to get an MBA in Paris. He has worked for Philip Morris for 30 years, over 30 years, and has made it to the very top as CEO. As Greeks, we are very proud of our many countrymen and women who have demonstrated to the world the dynamism of Greeks and Hellenic culture. André is a very special example of how Greeks can become citizens of the world and business titans with global impact. Only a Greek would have the daring and the insight and the wisdom to take a tobacco company and promote the health benefits of new technology, which I think he has done successfully while keeping a business going. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Harvard. Tonight's Capital Link Hellenic Leadership Award honoree, André Calantzopoulos, Axios.
Ο καθένας στο πόστο του και ολομοίω στους καφέδες, έτσι μπορώ να πω και ο Κώστας φωτογραφίες, ο διάξπερ. Σε κοινός με τη ζωή.
So good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is the first time I hear so many people pronouncing my last name properly. Kind of amazing. Well, the first thing I have to say, I'm really deeply honored to receive the award. And I still don't know why I received it. But my sincere thanks go to Capital Link, first of all, and Mr. Nicholas Bornosis, and his team, who are, I think, are at the core of this relentless effort to keep Greece on the international investors' spotlight. I guess when this forum started back in '97, the discussions of the participants were about all the great opportunities that emerged as the country was about to join the Eurozone. You know, the jury's out to know if that was the right or wrong decision, but this was the decision. Now, in just 20 years, many things have changed. And so has Greece. And because I'm Greek, I feel at least free to talk about the good and the bad. So it was not always for the better. As we all know, the consequences of the economic crisis are still more than evident, and people have and are suffering. And you know, we can have very nice living room conversations, but there are real people out there that are not having fun. And every time I go back to Greece, and you talk to real people, this is not easy. Now, tough measures have been implemented. Not sure they were always the right ones, but they were imposed. And I have to say that when Minister Papadimitriou said he was on a wheelchair, I could think of another person. And with all due respect. And there is still, I think, a long way for the country to reach full economic and financial stability. But I think we are on the right path. I also think, on the other hand, the crisis has opened up an important opportunity for a generation. I think Greece has a historical chance and a pressing need to reinvent itself. I think a chance to sincerely assess and to reach societal consensus, and I mean it, on what went wrong and on the way forward. I think sincerity, agreement, and courage, and agreement is not always our forte, unfortunately, are of paramount importance if we aspire to a bright future for our country. I'm, however, optimistic that more and more people that I talk in Greece share the belief that we should change and are ready for the change. As we all know, a change in a country is not a change of a country, it's a change of a societal way of doing things, like in any company. You don't change a company by declaring change. You have to convince people to do it. And CEOs in this room know that damn well. Now, it's easier to change a company, much more difficult to change the culture of a country. It takes time, but most importantly, it requires leadership, an example for both, the politicians and the business people. Precisely many of the people that are sitting here tonight. But we can also imagine the possibilities if we commit to work hard towards a common goal, if we move, call it in concert, towards creating a better future. If above all we stop the national sport of constant controversy and figure pointing, then I think everything is possible. You know, I always thought the Greeks are free thinkers, but as free thinkers are like free electrons. And sometimes they cancel each other. It takes a very powerful magnet to align them in the same direction. But if you do, they can do miracles. And I also think that we debated for long whether the triangle of state, entrepreneurship, and society is the right triangle. But I believe that if they interact honestly and cooperate with transparency and efficiency, as I said, miracles can happen. In my opinion, it is also very important to recognize and accept the pivotal role and responsibility of the private sector in national growth. I think in Greece, we have too many, honestly, ideological debates. And from time to time, it's good to talk business. Because it's very good to philosophize, but sometimes you have to get things done. And that's a bit more tough. So discussions, about attracting investment in Greece are very fashionable, and I think every participant in the meeting today thought it was better than last year, and we are moving in the right direction. Now, sometimes, without trying to sound negative, it reminds me of one line in the Greek national anthem. Δεν είναι εύκολες οι θύρες εάν οι χρήατες σκουρταλεί. The doors are not easy to open when need knocks at them. And, without sounding emotional, we've knocked many doors. So, what do we have to do? I think it's very important that if we want investment, and not investment to be wishful thinking, the first is a stable framework that is regulatory and fiscal. We had way too many changes in Greece the recent years, and that does not increase investors' confidence. And for a stable framework to exist, we need a national plan, a national vision, not division. Agreed by all parties, and eventually implemented. The other thing, as a Greek, I always learned our history was great. It's true. We can be very proud of our history, but we have and must build our future. I think this is fundamental because there is great potential in Greece, and this potential is inexorably linked to the great capabilities of its people. The intelligence, generosity, bravery of heart and spirit, creativity and dedication of Greeks is remarkable by all standards, and people that have worked with them know that. It is a unique asset that has to be mobilized instead of being disheartened by endless micropolitical fights which fit ambiguity and insecurity. I think there is abundance of entrepreneurial, highly educated, talented human resources that can be put to use to drive innovation, create new business, and generate national growth. Growth to be shared by the many, not the few. So I urge all of us here today to work together in this growth direction. Coming now to Philip Morris International, we are clearly committed to supporting both the country and obviously harnessing additional business opportunities. As the Minister said, Papastratos, a Greek affiliate, has proven to be an agent of continuous reinvention. Even before Philip Morris acquired Papastratos, the name of the company has for 86 years been synonymous with growth, entrepreneurship, innovation, and social responsibility. And I must say we're very proud to have this unique company as part of Philip Morris International. I also have to say, because I know it, throughout its history, Papastratos has managed to pull itself successfully through several crises. The answer is simple. We have this effect from time to time. The answer, I think, is simple. As I said, is courage, responsibility, and sincerity in the way the company does business and the way it treats its employees, in the way it listens and responds to the needs of society, and I think has been a bright spot in Greece despite a very controversial product. As the Minister said, and many other speakers, PMI through Papastratos has invested 1 billion euros in Greece over the past 14 years. And PMI did not do this because I happen to be Greek, but because Papastratos always performed at the highest level and truly deserved the investments and the key role it plays in PMI strategy. it would be a lie to say that the journey has always been smooth. Of course, we were hit by the crisis. We face red tape and political agendas. Although regretful, we all know this is not unique to Greece. Many countries have the same. But our people worked hard, and I think they succeeded in overcoming the obstacles, and we actually did receive the support of all the governments and of the public in our efforts. Ladies and gentlemen, investing in Greece can be complicated, but with the right local organization, it is highly rewarding. So, before I talk a bit further and conclude about Papastratos and Greece, let me say a few words to put all these investments in the more general context of Philip Morris International and its transformation. Yes, we are a leading tobacco company, and the impact of cigarettes on individual and public health are all well known. I think we took the very bold decision recently to disrupt our industry and achieve a smoke-free future as soon as possible by replacing cigarettes with better and less risky alternatives for smokers. I think we have invested around $3 billion in developing a portfolio of products, including IQOS, that some of you know in Greece, or electronic cigarettes. But most importantly, in assessing them using the pharma industry approach in clinical and preclinical research, and essentially the first product, IQOS, is in front of the US FDA for MRTPA review and hopefully one day approval. The denominator of all these products is they don't burn, because there is a wrong belief that all tobacco products are the same. It's like saying oil is the problem for climate change. It is because we burn tobacco that we create bad chemicals. It is because we burn oil that we have a climate change, not because oil exists. So we're very happy with these products, which are now present in more than 30 countries, in some of them nationally. And in Japan, they will reach probably 16% of the market at the end of this year. And these countries include Greece. We have already switched 3.7 million smokers, and we're switching 8,000 per day to these new products that hopefully the future will prove that they are much less risky. Just this year, despite the fact that this product represents 5% of our volume, they represent 30% of our marketing and commercial investments, and we have committed $1.7 billion in new manufacturing facilities for this product. So Papastratos is one of the first factories to be fully converted into this product. So we'll stop making cigarettes in the Papastratos factory in Greece, and we will make these reduced risk products going forward. And I think by this investment, Papastratos is becoming a hub for economic growth, for sustainability, and for employment. As the minister said, the 800 people that work there will soon be 1,200, and hopefully more to come. You know, Papastratos used to be a small family business that grew enormously in Greece, but it always had a huge interaction with the Greek economy and the Greek society. It is a household name. It is the market leader in our category, but as I said, business leadership goes together with social responsibility. And I also think it's an excellent collaborator with all our partners in the supply chain. It's a force for exports, because this factory will also export the new products, and an active supporter of Greek agriculture in a sustainable manner. So, ladies and gentlemen, I will just finish by reiterating my gratitude for honoring us as a company tonight, and by repeating the point I made at the beginning. the trust of Philip Morris International in the future of Papastratos is obviously trust in the future of Greece. The path may at times appear complex, but it is manageable, and the outcomes very rewarding. So I urge you all to join us in supporting Greece in practice. At these very hard times, for a country that deserves, in my view, better, let us take bold steps. Being Greek for the Greeks is not enough. Let's prove we love Greece, or in Greek you say, δεν είναι αρκετό να είσαι Έλληνας, πρέπει να είσαι φιλέλληνας. So thank you for your attention, and thank you for the honor.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, comes the difficult part of the evening, the photo session. If you don't mind, I will kindly ask my sister, Olga, to manage this process, which is very above and beyond that. Mr. Calantzopoulos, thank you very much for a very inspiring set of remarks. We had tonight with us two great speakers, two great friends of Greece, and both of you, in your own ways, I think, have made a difference and have contributed the most, and thank you very, very much. So I would kindly ask if we can have Mr. Calantzopoulos, the two ministers, Deputy Secretary Cohen, the two ambassadors, to start with, and then the two sponsors of the evening, Mr. Calantzopoulos and Hansen, and then we'll expand to get more people in the picture. By the way, in the meantime, since we're going to conclude the dinner, if I can ask you to give a round of applause to the two people who worked the hardest for this, my sister Olga and Hellenic.